We will see. Well, we know you have many choices for news. We thank you for choosing KCAL 9.
There is a lot more news to come. KCAL 9 News at 9 starts right now.
Next on KCAL 9 News, more harsh words from the Bush administration to Saddam Hussein.
And Secretary of State Colin Powell had a warning for the reluctant countries in the United Nations. Be ready for a quick response if Saddam Hussein refuses to disarm. Up-to-the-minute details on the showdown with Iraq coming up.
Plus, differences aside, the president joins the King family and the nation to celebrate the life of Martin Luther King Jr.
And students at the University of Michigan use the holiday to get out their side of the fight for affirmative action as the Supreme Court prepares to hear the case. Good evening. I'm Dave Clark.
And I'm Sylvia Lopez. KCAL 9 News at 9 starts right now.
Now, Sylvia Lopez, Dave Clark, and Byron Miranda with weather. You're watching KCAL 9 News at 9.
U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell is taking on the United Nations.
Yes, in a very blunt message, Powell told the UN to do its job and disarm Saddam Hussein.
Juan Fernandez is here now with the latest on the showdown with Iraq. Juan?
Dave, Sylvia, the war drums are beating at home and abroad tonight. The U.S. Army is poised to send more troops overseas, and at the UN, another cry to disarm Iraq.
At this militia training camp in Baghdad, UN inspectors found only devotion to Saddam Hussein. No weapons of mass destruction. But as of tonight, inspectors now have new tools to help them do their jobs a lot better.
I think the Iraqis certainly became aware that the world is so disappointed in this declaration.
The Iraqis have now agreed to encourage scientists to hold private talks with inspectors without government supervision. But Baghdad is still refusing to allow the interviews to take place outside the country. They will also support the inspectors' access to private sites like houses or farms like this one inspected last week. And the Iraqis will set up their own team to search for banned weapons that may have been overlooked. To this news, Secretary of State Colin Powell seemed unimpressed. He appeared before the UN Security Council, prodding world leaders to stand up against Saddam.
We cannot be shocked into impotence because we're afraid of the difficult choices that are ahead of us.
His remarks were followed by skepticism. France called war a dead end. Germany remained unwilling to commit. Turkey refused to let the U.S. use its air bases. And China wants to give the inspectors more time. That's what inspectors want too. But as it is now, they're set to report their findings to the Security Council next week. That report could be the springboard for war. The U.S. Army is poised to send 37,000 more troops overseas, bringing the number of American troops to over 160,000.
Please know that the American people are counting on you and have full confidence in you.
While the Iraqis did turn over 4 more missiles capable of carrying chemical warheads today, the White House does admit they are convinced Saddam never destroyed the thousands of liters of anthrax and nerve gas that could have been used in them. Again, the inspectors report to the UN due in exactly 1 week. We'll keep you posted. Dave?
All right, Juan, thanks a lot. Well, America's top general is just north of the Iraqi border. He's trying to shore up our allies in Turkey. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff says Turkey has been very cooperative with the U.S. General Richard Myers met with top Turkish defense officials. He wouldn't comment on the details of the talks, including reports that U.S. officials are considering scaling back their demand to place 80,000 troops in the country for a showdown with Iraq.
British police have arrested 7 men in a raid on a London mosque. Scotland Yard says the sweep is part of a terror investigation after the recent discovery of the deadly poison ricin in a London flat.
This is an intelligence-led operation, part of a national operation, following up various leads across the country.
This is the latest raid linked to the discovery of that toxin ricin 2 weeks ago. Investigators are trying to find out if those arrested today have any links to controversial cleric Abu Hamza al-Masri, accused of recruiting for extremist groups. The nation paused to remember Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. today, honoring the civil rights leader.
It's a very special day, but his name was also invoked in the growing anti-war movement as well. Carrie Kilbride is here now with more on that story. Carrie?
Dave, Sylvia, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., of course, moved the masses in the 60s, but his message isn't lost on the current generation or the current political climate. 35 years after his death, some of the same causes Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. fought so hard for, peace and equality, are issues still resonating in America today. Around the country, Americans honor his fight for freedom. In Atlanta, a church service attended by Dr. King's widow.
Martin did what he could, and now it is up to us to walk the walk.
In Chicago, Jesse Jackson joined other black leaders for a prayer breakfast. And here in Los Angeles and cities nationwide, parades remembering the man and his dream.
My poor little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
President Bush today said there is still a need for all of us to hear the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., so the word of hope reaches everyone, in his words, in the land. Sylvia, Dave, back to you.
Okay,
thanks, Carrie. You know, celebrating the dream and remembering Dr. King, it brought the governor and a lot of others to downtown Los Angeles tonight. Carla Davis is live in downtown LA with that story. Carla?
Well, the King Day celebrations started off outside with street parades. They have since moved inside, but they are still going strong. Hundreds were in attendance tonight at the Biltmore Hotel here downtown. The SCLC held its 26th annual MLK celebration dinner. Scores of state and local elected officials joined community activists and others for this black tie affair. They gathered to unveil a new portrait of Dr. King and to remember his message of nonviolence. As the nation seems to inch closer to war, that message is on the minds of many, including tonight's featured speaker, Governor Gray Davis, who had his own interpretation.
I think Dr. King would counsel us to work through the United Nations and work through the peacekeeping arm of the United Nations to make sure we exhaust all efforts at peace before we choose another option.
And I think we all have a part to play in this, particularly with the threat of war and the educational system and the lack thereof, the monies that are lacking. I think this is an ideal place to get to know each other and remember Dr. King's words and the messages that he has to express to us.
Now, there was also a very inspiring celebration tonight at Cal State Northridge. We'll have that for you and much more at 10 o'clock. Reporting live from downtown, I'm Carla Davis, KCAL 9 News.
All right, Carla, thanks. Their university is caught in the center of the fight for affirmative action.
And students use the MLK holiday to get their views across on the issue and their response to the Bush administration's brief to the nation's high court. That story still ahead.
But up next, they were stranded in a snowbank. Tonight, a family has quite a story to tell on how they survived.
And an innocent child caught in the deadly crossfire of a gang battle. You're watching KCAL 9 News at 9. Stay with us.
There's a big advantage to being the Southland's largest television news team.
It's what's actually fueling the fire.
When important stories break, no one brings it to you faster than CBS 2 News and KCAL 9 News. First on the scene.
It collided with a truck that was trying to cross.
First to uncover the important details.
35 power poles went down.
First with information to keep your family safe. CBS 2 News, KCAL 9 News. First when you need to know.
Having the gang over for the Big Game Bash? Smart & Final has everything you need to make sure you're a faster warehouse store.
A 7-year-old boy has died after being shot in a drive-by shooting in Compton. The young man was hit by a gunfire from 3 suspects in a white Ford Bronco who opened fire after crashing into a parked car. They fired into a group that was coming to investigate the accident.
Like they said, this is King's Day, and we're supposed to be, peaceful now and loving everyone. And it's sad. I don't know what to say, and I'm just hurt that this can happen to a young boy that life has never even started. He didn't get a chance even to live his life.
I have no idea what's going on, but I just hope they find the killer quick because it's it's just too much. And it's the tragedy. This is a 7-year-old baby. It's sad.
The young boy who was killed was in a neighboring yard when a stray bullet hit him. Doctors were unable to save him. He died 6 hours later at St. Francis Hospital.
Another twist in the case of the missing pregnant woman from Modesto. Lacey Peterson disappeared on Christmas Eve. Now police have added a burglary to the investigation. Paul Verkaman has that story.
Another gray winter day in Modesto and still no sign of Lacey Peterson. This morning, her husband Scott Peterson was seen but not heard at the couple's home. He changed a broken lock after what police called, quote, a bizarre burglary. Police report nothing significant was stolen, and this is not a, quote, smoking gun break in the case. Scott Peterson returned home to Modesto from Los Angeles, where his friends and family members set up a volunteer command center Sunday. They passed out flyers and asked for help finding Lacey. But why LA and not Modesto, where Lacey vanished Christmas Eve?
If you go to Modesto, you see in every store, in every corner, there's posters everywhere. We've been working on that for 6 days. You simply have to expand the geographical area. So we'll do it here, we'll do it in San Diego next weekend, and we'll continue to expand until we can.
Other than that, Scott Peterson is not saying much, but Modesto is sure talking about him because his wife's close friends say Modesto police showed Lacey's parents a recent picture of a woman they called Scott's girlfriend.
Approximately 2 weeks ago, Ron Gransky, Lacey's stepfather, asked Scott if he had a girlfriend. Scott told him no, and Ron believed him. Now, however, they believe that he has lied to them about this and possibly other things as well.
While rumors swirl through Peterson's neighborhood like leaves, Scott's side of the family dismisses any talk of infidelity.
I have no knowledge of that. I haven't seen the pictures. Our family and the Rocha family continues to believe that Scott in no way had anything to do with Lacey's disappearance.
A lot of innuendo surrounds the search for Lacey Peterson. And there's one hard, agonizing fact. The radiant Lacey Peterson, seen in this photograph, was expected 3 weeks from today to deliver a baby boy. Paul Verkaman, Modesto, California.
Well, a family snow outing turned into a real nightmare for a Washington State family. They were stranded for nearly 2 days before rescuers found them. The Bozzinis and their 2 girls are thankful to be alive after their cold and scary ordeal. Their car got stuck in the snow on a trip to Mount St. Helens. They spent Saturday night in the car, then started walking to try to find help.
It was really scary. I didn't know what was going to happen. I was worried about keeping the girls warm and keeping them fed and making sure that they were all right.
Well, the pilot spotted their car this morning. They called a sheriff's deputy to pick them up. The family's reportedly in good condition tonight. They had food, water, blankets, and extra clothing. They huddled together to keep warm.
Fire department boats battled a fire on a ship off New York's Staten Island. A police helicopter took one burned crew member to the hospital. The fire apparently began in the engine room of the 550-foot tanker. It was put out briefly, but then flared up again. The ship doesn't appear to be badly damaged. The Hare Krishna religious group can ask for donations at LAX again. The group had been blocked from solicitations under a new ordinance which required 30-day permits and prohibited singing, dancing, chanting, or singing. But a U.S. district judge granted a restraining order while he hears the Krishna's complaint. They're arguing that the ordinance is a violation of the First Amendment right of free speech.
Still ahead, repair crews, they're still out tonight. They're fixing a hole.
This one swallowed up the entire street. We'll take a look next.
And later on tonight, one man's journey to bringing the bald eagles home to California.
Introducing the new 215 horsepower Chrysler PT Turbo.
You really think Bionic Woman would beat the $6 million man in a foot race? She was smaller, so she's more aerodynamic.
With a Gachog manual transmission.
He was $6 million. Now, what was she? 4.5 tops?
Guys, it was a TV show. They're not real.
What if they had a kid? That'd be one fast kid.
PT Turbo. It'll really have you thinking fast. Now, qualified lessees can lease this 2003 PT Cruiser, starting at $229 a month.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to PCS Vision from Sprint. Full color screens, so now you have clarity you can see and hear. Games, screensavers, web, messaging, and smile. Because not only can you take pictures, you can send them. All of this on a phone.
Introducing PCS Vision from Sprint. Clearly, a whole new way to look at wireless.
What is QDR? It's not just some buzzword in the car industry. Q stands for quality, which means you don't have to worry. D means dependability, which means you don't have to worry. R is for reliability, which means you don't have to worry. No wonder Toyota sells more cars in Southern California than any other manufacturer, because who wants to worry? Just see your Toyota dealer today.
Mike, let's take a look at those reports next Thursday. And Tom, Susan, set up a meeting on Monday. Any other thoughts?
You know, sir, instead of saving money by having only one office pen, we could just go to Staples.
Yeah, with Staples 365 savings, they compare prices and back it up with 110% price match guarantee.
That's sharp thinking.
Hey, client's here. We need the pen.
Low prices on every item every day. Staples 365 savings. Savings made easy.
For all the mountains you will climb to.
Backcountry skiers, 2 others were hurt. It happened near a glacier 20 miles from the town of Revelstoke in eastern British Columbia. The victims' names and hometowns were not released. The party of skiers traveled by helicopter to a remote camp in the mountains, using that as a base. One of the injured skiers is reported in stable condition. The status of the other is not known at this time.
Yeah, and obviously they're going to be investigating that for a while.
Absolutely.
You see a story like that and you immediately start thinking about weather, including our weather here in Southern California, which is a lot nicer than that.
A lot nicer. Yes, it is. But we had a beautiful day for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., didn't we? You guys were at the parade, and we saw a lot of folks. We want to say hi to everyone that was at the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. parade. And we're going to give you a good forecast. Over the next 5 days, let's show you what the high today was. You might think it was a little bit hotter than 68 because it felt hotter, at least to me. Did it feel hotter to you, Dave and Sylvia?
Actually, it did.
Felt like something like 72, 73, right?
Especially in here.
Yeah, it was hot in the KCAL set, right? You guys look good. I told Pat and Carrie that. You all look good, too. Well, thank you. You're welcome very much, yes. Thank you, thank you. I was fishing for a compliment there, Sylvia, and you went right for it. Thank you. 68 was the high. Your record for this date is 82 degrees. Let's show you the currents across the Southland. Do you need a jacket or a sweater? Or just a T-shirt? Well, it depends on the type of weather you like. If you're in downtown, 58 for me would be a sweater. 58 degrees, -2 is 56, and that is the temperature in Burbank, Encino, Sherman Oaks in the mid-50s. 53 in Ontario, Double Nichols, 55 in Riverside. 53, pretty nice in Lancaster. Low 50s from Van Nuys, or at least into Oxnard, 53 degrees there, but high 50s in Santa Monica. Look at the rest of the nation, 7 degrees. That is not a wind chill. That's an actual thermometer temperature here. 7 degrees they're checking in Minneapolis, St. Paul. 51 up in San Francisco. 20 chilly degrees in New York City. 55 Double Nichols in Atlanta. And 52 right now in Miami. So it's nice here with clouds just to the north and west of us. There are clouds in Oakland, Bakersfield, Santa Maria, and Santa Barbara. But right now, high pressure is keeping the clouds away from us. There could be some fog in the morning. If you're going to get up early in the morning along the coast, give yourself some extra time. You might see some fog, so you might want to take it easy driving. Radar map. Anything going on? Nada. Nothing happening there. How about the rest of the nation? Relatively quiet from St. Louis down to Dallas, Atlanta, Miami, and New York. No problems getting off the runways and into wherever your final destination is via the airplane. Look at your temperatures for overnight lows. If you're in Big Bear Lake, it's going to be below freezing. 43 in Hemet, 51 nice degrees when you wake up at 6:30 in the morning in Palm Springs. 54 in Torrance, right before the sun comes up, and 50 in Burbank. When I come back in just a bit, we will do the 5-day forecast. I'll let you know what the weekend is going to look like. Plus, if we'll see a drop. Everybody needs some rain. We all want some rain, so I'll let you know if we're going to find some.
That would be nice. Okay.
Okay, guys. Talk to you later, Byron. Well, he was known as the king of caricature. Tonight, the world of art and publishing is mourning the death of Al Hirschfeld. Hirschfeld used pen and ink to capture some of the biggest stars of stage and screen. He was incredible. His drawings were first published in the 1920s, and over the years, his cartoons and caricatures depicted the likes of Charlie Chaplin, Ethel Merman, Woody Allen, even Jerry Seinfeld. His wife says he died peacefully in his sleep. Hirschfeld was 99 years old.
An urgent plea tonight for fugitive Andrew Luster to turn himself in. That plea is coming from Luster's attorney. The famous fugitive is the heir to the Max Factor fortune. He vanished during his rape trail. Reporter Christina Penza is the only reporter to speak with Luster's lawyer.
Right over here. Attorney Roger Diamond met me at the spot on 10th Street where police found his client's abandoned SUV yesterday. Fugitive Andrew Luster, the heir to the Max Factor cosmetic fortune, vanished January 3rd during the highly publicized rape trial that could send him to jail for life. Do you have any idea why your client's car would be here?
I have no idea, but I have to tell you that the court has gagged the defense.
That gag order limits what Diamond can say about the case, where Luster is accused of drugging and raping 3 women and videotaping the acts at his Muscle Shoals beach house. In court, Diamond argued it was consensual sex. What he will say about his missing client today.
I have nothing to do with his departure. It was a total surprise to me. I was working on his case Saturday, interviewing a witness, a key witness, and apparently, according to the reports, he'd already left.
Now, here's an interesting